This video was made possible thanks to the EA Creator Network. Hi everyone, it's Chrissy and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a really little bit of a different video than what I would usually do. So in this video we're actually going to be taking a look at how you convert existing builds, so existing apartment buildings or townhouses or anything like that that you have, and take that and then convert it into a proper residential rental lot with the new for rent expansion pack. So I'm going to be showing you guys all of the ways that you can do this, and you can do this if you have a empty lot. Just do it if you have an empty lot, convert it right off the bat and then build whatever you want to and assign units, or you can go in, and that's what we're going to be doing today, and using a build that already exists. So this is the base game townhouses that I built a couple of weeks ago by now, and I did build it with this pack in mind. Now I do just want to say before we get any further that you will see my name floating around the screen. That's not something that I'm adding. If you guys have ever seen any of these kind of super early access videos that I've done, that's not me adding it. That is literally a part of the game that I have, so I see it on my screen as well. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. And also I am playing with a really early version of the for rent expansion pack. It's not the final version of the pack, so it's not the one that you would get when you buy it on December 7th or anything like that. So if there are any bugs or anything wrong, any glitches, stuff like that, the team are aware of it. A lot of us have been reporting a lot of bugs that we've been seeing and all of that stuff. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So this isn't the final version of the game. But yeah, so here we are in the base game townhouses that I did. And currently it's just set as a, set as a residential lot. And this is what it looks like. So obviously in those videos I told you guys that I was going to split up the apartments. I have 3 of them that are fully furnished, 3 of them that only have the base items in it. And that's basically it. So currently, as it stands, this lot is just a residential. You can only have 1 family living on it. It's, a regular residential lot. But something new that comes with this pack is a couple of lot challenges. So we have maintenance troubles. Home ownership involves maintenance, and this lot brings surprise events knocking. So this is with the new pack. You can apply this to any residential lot that you have. So if you want your Sims to have, think of the TLC lot trait, the needs TLC lot trait that came with City Living. Kind of that. But this means that you can apply that to regular houses. It doesn't need to be just apartments. We also have the mold lot challenge. There is a dampness in the air here that just doesn't feel right. Keep puddles mopped, trash from overflowing, and plumbing objects clean, or mold piles will start to appear, and beware of the deadly black mold pile. So yeah, there's a lot of gameplay tied into that and into the maintenance one, but that's just a little overview that I wanted to give you guys. Now, we can do this a couple of ways. We can convert it a couple of different ways. So you can do this if you have a sim on the lot, but if you have a sim on the lot and you do this, it basically automatically makes that sim the owner of this lot. So they would automatically become the landlord of that lot. However, if you do this from just the map view or from build by, like I'm currently doing right now, you can just go here, just go to lot with rentable units, residential rental, just convert that, and then the UI is going to change a little bit. So you can see up here you have a new toggle. It says unit outlines. Toggle the visibility of unit outlines. And then if you go to unit configuration, you have a new UI. So basically with this, you can also see it if you minimize that. But it now says 1 Willow Creek Archive. And it says Willow Creek Archive because that's the original name of this lot. But I'm going to say 1 Willow Townhouses. That's just as an example. So now you can go in and decide which one is number 1. I did these little fake numbers above the doors. So I'm just going to set this as the number 1 unit. So then you would go assign that, and then it creates this handy dandy little outline around the apartment. So now this whole space is 1 unit, but let's say obviously we have unit number 2 over here. All you have to do is click create a new unit. It will automatically spawn a new little drop down for you, and you can rename it however you want. But basically you're going to do this for all of your apartment units. So if you have, whoops, I did not mean to do that, but you're going to basically, if you have 4 apartment units on a lot, you're going to do that 4 times, or 6 apartment units. Currently the max cap for this is 6 apartments, but I will show you guys a cheat to up that a little bit. Okay, so I have just gone and assigned all 6 of the townhouse apartments that I have on this build. That's why you can see all of these kind of like, it's a little bit distracting if you look at them all like this, because they're all obviously overlapping. It's very distracting on your eyes, but that's what this toggle is for up here, the unit outlines one. If you toggle that, it just hides all of the outlines. But as you can see, we have apartment number 1, 2, 3 is actually a 2-story apartment, the same with 4, the purple one. And then at the bottom we have 2 basement apartments. So I have 5 and 6. Now, like I said, you can change the colors of any of these apartments, or not the colors of the apartments, but the colors of the outlines. You can change them. They have this whole little like picker menu for choosing that, all of that stuff. Now, the other thing that you're going to need to keep in mind is that for, you can open up apartments. So let's say we're opening up a number 3. And now you can go ahead and assign the amount of bedrooms that it has, the amount of bathrooms that it has, all of that stuff. It also tells you how much it's worth if you want to purchase it like furnished. If you want to do that, you can also assign specific lot traits and challenges to each apartment. So let's say I want this one to have the homey lot trait, but I want the one at the bottom that I built for a musician to, for example, have the great acoustics lot trait. And as you can see, they're totally separate, so they won't cross over or anything like that. Now, the other thing that you need to keep in mind with apartments is the fact that you will need to have shared spaces. So basically, if you build a new building, if you don't assign a specific room to a specific apartment, they will default to being a shared space. So like this hallway, for example, is a shared space, obviously, because you need to be able to use it to get up to other apartments. I did the same with, for example, these backyards. They're supposed to be shared spaces. So that is something that you need to keep in mind. And the other thing that you will need is a boiler room, or not necessarily a boiler room, but like you're going to need the, like, what would you call it? The, I guess, maintenance objects is probably the best way of describing it. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to add in a very random little room over here that is not going to be permanent, but I just want to show you guys the objects that you're going to need. So if you go to, I believe they're under, I can never remember what they're under. Oh yeah, they're under the outdoor category, under outdoor activities. So you're going to need an electrical fuse box, which looks like this. And you're also going to need a water heater. So these are actually functional objects. Your landlord sims or whatever, these items are the ones that are going to be breaking. If you have, like maintenance issues or anything like that, they will need to fix these items. So you need to put them in and put them in a space where they are accessible. So obviously for this room, I would need to put in a door so that my sims could get in here. And the same with the solar water heater. It's functional off the grid and it adds a green eco footprint. This can also break, so you need to add it somewhere where your sims can access it. And we also have some wall mounted aircon units, all of that stuff. These aren't functional. I mean, you can turn them on, and I believe if you have seasons, they function similarly to like the wall fan, not wall fans, the ceiling fans, where they do cool your sims down a little bit. We also obviously have the new radiators. So we have small ones, some more worn ones, and then bigger ones. And they function like fireplaces. They warm your sims up. So if you have seasons, that would be very useful. But yeah, so these items, the fuse box and the water heater, can break, so you need them to function. So you need to put them somewhere where your Sims can access them. But also, if you don't want to play, if you want to play on a regular residential lot and you want just those items as decorations, there are non-functional versions of them as well in decorations. So we have a non-functional water heater, and we also have a non-functional fuse box as well. So you can put them in your builds or put multiple of them in or whatever as, you know, realistic touches. So that is very useful to keep in mind. And the other thing that last thing I wanted to show you guys, oh yeah, not the last thing, but basically where is it? The lot challenge, the maintenance trouble one. So this kind of confused me at the beginning because it says only available for residential, and you would assume that apartments would have that as well. But the way that it works is that lot challenge, you can apply to a residential lot to give your Sims that extra challenge of having to maintain stuff like the water heater, fuse box, all of that stuff. But for apartments, it's automatically applied. So you don't need to apply it. It's there. It's something that they will have to deal with. And, you know, you just have to make peace with that. Okay, so here we are back on the world screen, and I'm just going to grab this random Sim. She doesn't have enough money at the moment, so I'm going to turn free real estate on. And she's going to go ahead. What am I doing? Free real estate on. Thank you very much. I'm going to have her move into this building, and I'm going to show you guys what happens when you convert a residential lot to a residential rental when you already have a Sim living on the lot. Okay, so here we have our Sim on the lot. I just went into build mode. It's classed as a regular residential, and now you can swap it to a residential rental. So again, that's going to change up the UI a little bit. Now, the one thing that you need to keep in mind is that the first townhouse, so the first one up here that I'm going to say One Willow townhouses, this is automatically going to be where your Sims live. So this is going to be their home unit. Home unit, this is your current household's home unit. So this is where your current household lives. This is where, you know, if you have the Sim living on the lot that owns the lot, then this is basically where the landlord is going to live. You can run apartment units and like apartment buildings or whatever and live on another lot. You can totally do that. You go through a separate menu to do that as well. So all you have to do in that case, if you don't want your Sim to live in the apartment building that they own, is you're going to go down here. You're going to go to owned businesses, and obviously it will show you that she now owns the Willow Creek Archive, which is this lot's original name. But you can go and select buy residential rentals, and if you do this, your Sims basically, they can buy any lot and turn it into a residential rental. Obviously you won't be able to buy like community lots, for example, because that's just not going to work because it's a community lot. But yeah, this menu is at the moment a little bit buggy for me. Not buggy, but it takes a while to load. Again, like I mentioned earlier, this is not the final version of the game. But basically, your Sims can now go and they can select, you know, obviously, yeah, this is the new world. They can go and they can, like, buy, like, empty lots. So obviously, she doesn't have enough money to buy that one at the moment. But they can buy empty lots. They also can't buy something where there are already Sims living on the lot. But yeah, you can buy any residential lot, any empty lot, and then convert it to a residential rental through this menu. Now, the thing that I wanted to show you guys is basically the first apartment that you're going to assign is going to be your Sims's home apartment if you have the landlord living on the lot. We're going to go with that scenario. And that means that whatever apartment I assign first is going to be their apartment. So I'm going to give her this apartment, and I'm going to say it's One Willow Townhouses. It's not the most creative name. And obviously you can change up the naming of any apartment, you can change up the numbering or whatever, but whenever you do this, if you have a Sim on the lot and convert a lot to a residential rental, they will always be first in the list up top. So even if you change the numbers of them, they will always be first because that is the apartment that your Sims live in. So yeah, now she owns that little apartment. And it shows up right at the top of the little menu. Now I'm going to say, let's make this another one. This is going to be 2 Willow Townhouses. And now we have a separate apartment for this sim. Not a separate apartment for the sim, but like a separate apartment on the lot, basically. I'm just gonna do these two because I want to show you guys something. So this is not our home unit, but you can swap. So if you don't want your sims to live in the top one, you can swap and select that one as their home unit, and now they're separate. But the other thing that you need to keep in mind is obviously these apartments are going to show because I haven't assigned them. They're technically considered shared spaces, but this is my Sims' apartment now. And as you can see, this one, the other one that we assigned, it looks empty. It looks like there's nothing in it. And that's the way apartments in this pack work. When you actually live on a certain apartment, so she lives on this one, that apartment will load. The other ones on the interior, if I were to like set this one as an apartment and all of that stuff, they wouldn't load in. So you can't see into them. You can't even see the door placement or anything like that. So you can't see anything. It basically looks empty. And that is just for performance sake, basically. But what you're going to do if you want to run an apartment, so let's say we have one Willow Townhouses, which is that 2-story one. Currently, it has a 4-star rating because it's a very nicely furnished apartment. What you're going to go and look at is the rent per day. You can set up a tenant agreement. It says the maximum rent for this apartment is 410 simoleons. You can set that however, you want to make it. I'm going to make it like, let's say 200 simoleons. The lease length is basically the amount of time that a sim can live in an apartment. And, at the end of their lease, they can choose to move or stay on or whatever without having an extra fine. If they break their lease, so if they move out before their 7 days are up, they have to pay your sim a fine. Same if you move in somewhere. If your sim decides to move before their lease is up, they're going to have to pay a fine for that. And when you open up this menu, you can also see, the size of the apartment. You can see the amenities, obviously, because that apartment is fully furnished, fully decked out, all of that stuff. It has an excellent amenity rating. It's a luxury amenity. It basically also tells you what's considered an amenity. So it says beds, toilets, shower, bathtub, skill, hobby activities, and appliances. And you also have the environment. So this is basically any decorative things. The maintenance rating is always going to be poor for new apartments because it's a new apartment and your sim hasn't built up a reputation as a landlord. Basically, they haven't had to do any maintenance or anything like that. But as you move sims in and go through gameplay and they have maintenance issues, however fast or slow you respond to the maintenance rate, to their maintenance issues, that rating will go up or down. You can also select some unit rules. We have social events, so no social events. They aren't allowed to throw parties. They aren't allowed to make loud noises. So between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m., no TVs or stereos. Maximum occupancy is great for when you have apartments that have maybe like one bedroom and you want them to be for either a bachelor or a single sim or a couple. Basically, it means 2's a crowd, 3's a party, and 4 sims in one household violates the maximum occupancy rules. So they won't ever move in more than like 3 sims. So if you have a 2-bedroom house with 2 double beds, they won't ever move in a 4-bedroom household. Or not a 4-bedroom, a 4-sim household. No trash overload. Tenants must maintain a tidy living space. And no ghost it's weird. I don't know why that's a thing. But yeah, so you can set that there and then you can select full occupancy. So again, this pops up. So if you wanted to change something, you totally can. I'm not going to. But then you can go in, you can see your unit rating, beds and baths, all of that stuff that, you set. So you can either set this yourself or it picks it up and decides like, oh, there's actually 4 bedrooms. And then it does that. It actually counts the amount of beds that you have, not the amount of bedrooms that you assign. So if I were to set that apartment as a 5-bedroom apartment, if I only have 4 beds on it, it's only going to count as 4 beds. And I don't believe it counts... Oh no, it does count toddler beds. It does count toddler beds because I have the main bedroom, which has a double bed. I have another bedroom with a double bed, a teenager's room, and then a toddler and infant bedroom. So it does count toddler beds as a bed. But yeah, so now it shows up and it tells you all of the Sims that, you know, is available to move into this apartment. So I'm going to select the Lee family because they have an elder, a young adult, a child, and a toddler. It tells you how many beds that they want. So they only want 3 beds. And it also tells you, you know, what their maximum rent is that they are willing to pay. They're willing to pay 360. Obviously, we're only charging 200. So now they live there. So now we have the Lee family. We can, you know, see their tenant agreement. We can see who lives here. We have Sunja, Minsung, Yuri, and Daesung. I'm saying their names so wrong. I know, I'm sorry. Now you can decide to unjustly evict them. If you want to be a complete ass, you can do that. Or you can, you know, travel to their unit. And if you do travel to another unit, you are going to sit through a loading screen. That is just the way The Sims 4 works. Personally, I don't mind that. But yeah, just something to keep in mind. But yeah, that is basically everything about how to set up apartment units, you guys. I mean, there are probably a couple of other things that I forgot. If there is anything that you're unsure about, feel free to ask me over in the comments. I would love to like talk about it with you guys. I would love to tell you more about it. Now, something else I wanted to mention is if you go into build mode, if you own an apartment building, if you go into build mode, obviously this apartment doesn't show up. But you can click on it. It will tell you this unit is hidden. It cannot be edited. The unit is currently occupied. It cannot be edited. Evict the household occupying the unit to make it available to edit. So you cannot edit units once you have Sims living there. Now the other thing is if you have an apartment unit, for example, let's create a third one really quickly. So what am I doing? We have, let's say, 3 Willow townhouses. So we have this unit. And I'm just going to assign this really quickly. And I'm going to go into live mode and show you guys. So obviously, again, this hides the unit completely. So you cannot see into it. Even in build mode, it will show up. But, you know, sometimes you might need to go in and click on a unit if it's hidden in build mode, if it's unoccupied, and select, you know, show unit. That is actually kind of annoying when you do a lot of building. So what I have done is I've gone into my game options, my pack settings, and you can enable the events that come up with owning a unit or owning a building, or you can just select to hide or like not hide units automatically. So I have mine turned off because otherwise if I went into build mode, this would be hidden. Even if I own it, even if there's no one living there, it would still hide it, and I would have to click on the apartment every time I go into build mode and select to unhide it, and it's just a pain. So I recommend turning that setting off if you're a builder and plan on spending a lot of time in build mode. Just a heads up. The other thing I wanted to mention is the new mailboxes that you guys probably saw in the trailers. So you don't need to have these mailboxes on like apartment buildings. You can have just regular mailboxes. It's fine. If, for example, you have like a duplex house, you don't need a mailbox like this for what would technically be like a 2-family lot. You're not going to have 20 different families living here. But, you know, this is just for realism purposes, and it looks good. I like these mailboxes. I like the way they look. Now, there is a cheat as well. I mentioned this earlier. Currently, the maximum cap for apartments on a lot is 6. But there is a cheat. I will put it up on the screen for you guys that you can enter. You can just basically do, you know, Control-Shift-C. Make sure you have testing cheats on. And then you enter that cheat, and basically it means that once you have all 6 apartments created, it will just like, it won't hide this create unit icon. You can still click on it and create however many apartments you want. Something I do want to mention though, I don't know if they're going to mention this in the public live stream, is that there is a cap on how many apartments you can have in a world. And what I mean by that is it has a cap on how many apartments you can have in one save. So you cannot have more than 100 apartments spread out across the world in one save. Now, I know some people might be thinking, why did they do that? What's the point of it? Basically, I'm guessing it's just so that people don't blow up their games by building apartment buildings on every single lot in every single world that has like 50 apartments on it and then blowing up their game. So yeah, I mean, if you think about it, having 100 apartments spread out across all of the worlds in the game isn't like, it's not too restrictive, because realistically, how many apartments are you going to build in one world? And how many apartments are you actually going to use? Because personally, I would never want to have 100 different apartments in my save file. My game would hate me if I did that. So that's just something to keep in mind. You can build all 100 apartments on one lot. If you want to build on an absolutely huge lot, build 100 apartments on one lot, you can do that. Or what I'm most likely going to do is I'm going to spread them out, obviously, over a couple of different worlds. So yeah, hope this video was a little useful to you guys if you weren't sure about how the whole apartment system works and all of that stuff. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, you know, give the video a like. And if you want to see more for rent videos, I will be having some more videos up. I have no idea in what order I'm posting videos in. I don't know what, like, if I'm going to show, like, if I'm going to do builds first or overviews or whatever. I don't know if you're, like, in what order you're seeing videos in, basically. But if you want to see more for rent videos, hit the subscribe button and turn on notification bell to be notified of whenever I upload a new video. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, if there are any other questions that you have about the pack, about the apartment system, the residential rental system, feel free to leave them in the comments. I will get to every single one. If I have an answer for you, I will give you an answer. If I don't have an answer, I'll tell you that, and I will try and find an answer for you. So yeah, definitely go ahead, ask me your questions in the comments. Hope you enjoyed this video, hope it was useful, and I will talk to you all in my very next video. Bye everyone.